Okay, people. So Wintertide, right? This is the new film. It's showing at Sci-Fi London. It is directed by John Barnard, who co-wrote the film with Carrie-May Siggins. The film is produced by Bernard, Tony Walsh, executive produced by Kyle Borneas and Michael O'Sullivan, and line produced by Rwanda Lunette. Marcus Henkel is on cinematography. John Barnard, Nathalie Massarono, and Marcus Henkel edited the film. Jim Heber is on casting. Oscar Fenagoli, production design. Set decoration, we've got Cody Rominsky, Astor Fenagoli, and Madison Summer Dueck. Erin May is on costume design. Hair and makeup, we have got Emily Hagen, Ellie Schmeshershin, and Kathleen Windsor Brown. So our cast, well, Beth is played by Niamh Carolan. We've got a younger version of Beth, who is played by Isla Gorton. Her mother is played by Marina Stevenson Kerr. Who is her dad played by? I think her dad is played by John B. Lowe. Her best friend is Natalie, who's played by Solange Sukram. There's also Derek, played by Jesse Nobes. We've got Jason, played by Darcy Fear. Carol, played by Onale Ames. Bruno is Josh Strait. And Tom, who's Jeremy Walmsley. Yeah, I mean, that's about it, right? There's a load of kind of zombies and things. Oh, Tabby is Colleen Forlan. The innkeeper is played by Michael Sullivan. Yeah, that's the main. And the gist of the film is this. Beth, a volunteer watch person of an isolated northern city, battles a plague of depression that transforms the few remaining residents into empty zombie-like automations. So, yes. Now, this film, it's, you know what? It reminded me of God, that 30 Days of Night. That's it, right? That I feel that's the one that's like it's night, but oh well, yeah, 30 days. The title kind of says it, right? Oh shit. It kind of reminded me of that feel wise because yeah, it's kind of night most of the time. It kind of, well, a lot of the time, right? And it's snowy and just bleak and it's a desolate feel. So you have that, which I think, creates a nice little atmosphere. And we've got, Beth, she seems part of this group, right? These watch people driving around, dispatch gives them like things to check and they have to call in and, report, right? Report these strays, they're called. And they're basically zombies, can't do anything. And they get picked up and taken to this kind of hospital type place. So that's where we are. And you're thinking to yourself, okay, what is happening? What's going on here? Right? People, when we first meet Natalie, a friend, they're talking about these drugs everyone has to take. Right? But for some reason, Beth isn't taking those drugs. So you're wondering, is there a virus? Like, what's caused all of this stuff? Then you also find out that not really anyone is in these towns anymore. Where Beth is, I think she kind of mentioned she's basically the only one in that neighborhood now. But we don't know where everyone's gone. So this is the big thing. We have no clue where everyone has gone and what the time frame is. We don't know why she doesn't want to take the meds. There's mention that the early meds were making people feel off, but that's all been corrected. So why isn't she taking the meds? We have no clue. Right? So there's a load of things here that we don't know why. Right? There's a few scenes in this kind of swimming bath, but no one's wearing clothes, which we don't know why. Right? It's not like it's a steam room or sauna, which, depending on, sometimes they're like naked, right? But swimming pools, usually bathing suits and all of that. So it's just like, oh, is it because no one's, society is kind of falling apart, so people are just doing whatever? Who's maintaining it? Right? Who's putting chlorine in that thing? Are people putting chlorine in that thing? Who the fuck knows? Right? It doesn't look like it's run down. So you're trying to figure out what's happening, right? What's with society? What are the new norms? Right? Because people aren't just, it's not like 28 days later. That's the one. 28 days, right? Where, like the soldiers wanted to rape like the women because they haven't seen women in we're not there. You seem to have some guys who, like, she bumps into some guys she knows who seem like, hey, why don't you, are you, but no one's like forcing anything. So it's just, there seems to be, rules to society, but what are they? What's happening? And we just do not know. We never find out that information. And I think sometimes you don't need to know everything, but you need to know enough to make the situation dangerous, right? To add that peril, to add that weight to something. It's like, as the film goes on, what has been kind of set up in the beginning in regards to our strays seems to fly out the window, right? But there's nothing happens to go, oh, that's why now this is the case. All of a sudden, we're just into this new thing, and you're like, how? Right? How has that happened? What's going on here? You know, also Beth knows something. There's something she knows that you're like, with that info, why would you do a thing with your friend? Right? It's a little baffling. It's a little baffling, you know? Like the other things, because there's this whole dream state situation, but we then see other people kind of interacting there, which doesn't make any sense, never explained. And that's the thing. I'm just like, it's a little frustrating because I thought there was a whole heap of promise here. You know, it's an interesting idea. You know, I think Come True. I think it was called Come True. Was a film we looked at a couple of years ago, beginning of lockdown, and that dealt with this whole dream thing, which was crazy and great. Really good film. If you haven't seen it, people go check that out. But this one, you thought it might get onto that level, but it doesn't quite get there because of these kind of story plot holes. Also, there's times when a lot of the interactions feel a little clunky, right? When she first meets, I think it is Tom, the guy that works at the hospital. When she first meets, I think it was him. Um, yeah, it was weird flirting kind of stuff, and it just did not feel right. It was very clunky. And there's a few interactions with people that you're just like, "Ugh." I mean, if you're friends, you ain't really talking like that. That feels a little mechanical, a little like you don't know the person, right? So it's just these kind of things that I think are holding this back. But as I said, it's an engaging concept, and you do want to know how it's all going to unfold. I don't know if it was as satisfying as I was hoping for with the end and the wrap up, but there is something here. There's definitely, it leaves you thinking about the questions and the greater kind of ideal that might be attached to this. Like, are they trying to say something? I don't know. I don't know, people, but you know, your head starts running around with kind of thoughts and all of that. So, you know, it has you thinking, right? And there's some fun things. I like the effects are good. Effects are very good. You know, for an indie flick, yeah, they work, and I mean, it creates tension and suspense well, right? It's just some of those human elements, like sleeping in bed. The way we see people in bed, you're just like, really? Like, that just looks odd, right? It doesn't look like people are sleeping like that. Like, that just, it looked too manufactured with the positions and the poses and just that kind of thing. We've got a bit where Beth, she's kind of wearing this not even a tee, like a shirt, kind of a shirt thing, but it's not done up, but it doesn't move. And you're just like, all right, if you're wearing something like that and you're moving, that's moving. It's not gonna stay perfect in position covering you up. Like, that just is bizarre, right? And it's not oh, let's see what's underneath. No, it's just, it makes no sense. If you're wearing a thing like this, there would be movement, right? So why put her in that? just like wearing a fucking t-shirt, right? Some of these choices do feel a little bit off, but it's an interesting piece. And I think just this kind of play on zombies might intrigue some people. So, yeah, Wintertide, people. It's not as tight as 30 Days of Night, but I think if you're a zombie fan, right, and you can just consume even a lot of that kind of content, then you might want to add a Wintertide to your list.